What does the end of Women's Month mean to victims of gender-based violence? Can the Minister of Women in the Presidency say it is winning the fight against the abuse of women and children? What is the department's position on the alleged assault of a young model by Zimbabwe's First Lady Grace Mugabe? And what will it take to reduce the scourge of teenage pregnancy in the country? What time is it? It's question time. Khotsong, Mraro, Kurula. My name is Mpho Tsedu. With only one day remaining before the end of Women's Month, incidents of brutal abuse of women and children continues unabated. A woman is reported to have succumbed to injuries in Pretoria after a lover torched a shack with her inside. A Limpopo Pastor is accused of sexually abusing young female congregants, while Pastor Timothy Omotoso is applying for bail on similar charges in the Eastern Cape. 30 learners at a school outside Kuruman are reportedly pregnant, with some teachers allegedly implicated. Meanwhile, a latest study by the Center for the Study of Violence and Reconciliation indicates that victims of violence face secondary trauma from the police and the legal system when they seek justice. Now, today on Question Time, we are honored to host the Minister for Women in the Presidency. We are seeking answers from her on a number of issues, including the objectives of her department's program on social transformation and economic empowerment. We are live. Therefore, you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial is 089-1104-210. International line +2789-1104-210. Our Twitter handle at Question Time 24. My guest, like I said, Susan Shabangu, Minister in the Presidency responsible for women. Minister, welcome to our show and thanks for making time to talk to us. I would want to talk about many other things, but this story in the Northern Cape where school learners are impregnated by teachers, these are kids.
Yeah, I agree with you. These are kids, but it's also a reflection of a society which is facing many challenges. When you talk about patriarchy and continuous abusing of women, that's the space where these are fathers who have impregnated girls. So the whole issue of our system when it comes to violence against women, it also talks to such behavior where teachers, instead of educating kids and give them dignity, they strip them of their dignity by making them mothers before time. So I believe that the Department of Basic Education itself has to take a proactive role in ensuring that the behavior of teachers is addressed not only when such incidents happen in advance, but also I believe that the critical area is about the involvement of parents in the education of their children and understand the role and what happens on a daily basis in the various schools, because the mere fact of that you find this happening and no one had picked it up, and many teachers are involved, and many kids now have lost their education opportunity. So it also talks to parenting.
Now, I'll read you something here, which is it's an opinion by Angelo Fick, who says at the SADC meeting, where the president of Botswana thanked Mswati III, the king of Swaziland, for hosting the meeting. He proceeded to remark about the reed dance, commenting on the hundreds of maidens who had participated. He went further, joking that it was exceptional for a head of state and his deputy to attend the gathering, suggesting that the chance of seeing the maidens explained Cyril Ramaphosa accompanying Jacob Zuma to the meeting. Now, the point here is, Angela Fick says, this was post-millennial Southern Africa's political leaders laughing at a head of state making a joke about young women as objects performing for men's gaze. Now, these are leaders, and if the objectification of women is something that we are to fight with, it should start with your colleagues.
Definitely it must start with leaders, but it also has to start with every man, because sometimes we think that they're different. And that is why we are saying it also starts at home, because how men are socialized and where men are socialized in a way that women are objects starts in the home. The parenting itself, it's a challenge, because as parents, how we groom and nurture our children, that's why it starts. Because if these men, these leaders who were kids at some point were taught differently, they would not have seen that as a joke. They would realize that it's a serious problem where young girls are displayed for opportunities which must be seen by men. That on its own poses a challenge. It's a societal problem. It's also a patriarchal issue which we've dealt with. And that is why we've got to have various programs which addresses that. I mean, if I have to add on that, it's that our social media, terrible. Appalling things are said in the social media, no one picks it up.
Yeah. Thomas, you are in Limpopo.
Mpo, how are you, my brother?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm very well, I'm very well. Mpo, I just want to disagree with the minister there.
Okay.
Firstly, she's sitting there and in national television lying about the effort that she, her own office, that is useless and toothless, because it's not solving the ideal challenges of women and children in the president's office. She has failed the South Africans, and she has failed our South African women. Let me give an example.
Yes,
ask her what is her view now, just 2 weeks back, about Grace Mugabe, her same government. Grace Mugabe left scot-free, and I can tell you she will never come back, and ask her what is happening. So she must not tell us that her office is doing something. Her office has failed. She does not have a plan or any strategy to deal with this issue. She has failed as a minister. That is why we don't even believe in what she said, because coming here on TV, she's just talking things like, political. She has failed in a ask her when was she last time on the field dealing with women issues. Always in the office, coming to the TV, now talking to something like she knows what she's talking about. She doesn't know. She doesn't have a plan.
Okay, Thomas, thanks very much. Which part of Limpopo are you calling from, by the way?
I'm in Tando.
Oh, okay. Thanks very much. Thomas. Yeah, Minister, you are useless. You don't know what you're doing. When last were you on the field? You're lying to the people on TV. Ask her about Grace Mugabe, and I'm going to ask you about it.
Before you ask about Grace Mugabe, as I come here, I'm from a meeting of women, civil society. We were having a meeting discussing the same issue. So if he wants to come with me, Thomas, he can be with me all the time. Yeah. So I'm always on the ground. When he doesn't see me on TV, yeah, it doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. There's a lot which we are doing.
So, the First Lady.
The First Lady, her action, it's just unacceptable. I must say that. It cannot be condoned. If I had it my way, I would say we had to act and make sure that he goes to jail. But as you know that now it's an issue of immunity, your whole international protocols, one cannot take it further. But I must say her action is unacceptable. No right woman in her right mind would do that to another child.
Okay. Taking a quick break. 0891104210 is the number to dial, and we'll continue with the show. Please don't go away.
It takes patience and the finest ingredients to craft a milk stout of superior quality that is made to be savored by the most refined palate. Castle Milkstout. Savor your richness.
If you ask this Irish master whiskey distiller why sometimes whiskey is spelled with an E and sometimes without, he'd say,
You feel so good, look. Like the whole thing, they're back and get off in the whiskey without the E.
Yeah, didn't catch that. But if you asked us the difference, we'd tell you that every whiskey from around the world is spelled without the E, except for Irish and American whiskies.
Get 750ml Ballantine's finest blended Scotch whiskey for only $154.99 from Tops at Spar.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time, and today my guest is the Minister in the Presidency responsible for women, Mayor Susan Shabangu. Maruping, you are in Giani. Which side of Giani is this?
I'm in Sidibane. Like, there's a small village in Sidibane. I'm not sure if you can know.
Oh, Sidibane here in the Val?
No, in Giani, Limpopo, Giani.
Oh, Sidibane. Hey, I don't know, man.
Like, you never know.
Okay, no, it's fine. Welcome.
Yeah, I would like to say hello to the viewers and the minister there.
Yep.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, the problem with South African women is that, like, we're trying to protect them, but whenever we try to do that, like, they go on and support these men who are abusing them. Like, back in 2006 when they rallied behind the President Zuma there, like, they were supporting him instead of the lady that got raped. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem with women. Like, we can sit here and discuss everything about them being abused and whatever, but at the end of the day, they don't give a damn. They go on and do whatever and support this ANC men.
Oh, I see. Okay. Maruping, thanks very much. I would have wanted to engage you further so that you can substantiate. But yeah, but I think what comes to mind here is that, and I wish, maybe I must ask you, Minister, to pass a message to one of your colleagues, the Minister of Social Development, that we are waiting for her here on Question Time. We've been promised that she would come, and the dates that she commits to never come. Because there are things that we would want to ask. When your former colleague in the executive, although he was non-executive, Mduduzi Manan, was engulfed in the controversy of assaulting women and all that, it was the leadership of government or the ANC Women's League which then said, no, but he's not alone. There's lots of them. As if it's some justification, and I know it's unfair to really put some things, these things that you didn't say but were said by a colleague. But I guess the caller is coming from that point where, you know, when we as society want to rally behind a particular cause, then government or ANC Women's League comes and say all these bizarre things.
Well, Mpo, it's just a pity that sometimes we come out in voices which sounds contradictory. But the reality, if you look at the policies of the ANC now, they are quite clear, and they're the guiding framework for how we articulate, but also we behave. And the issue of violence against women in the ANC policies, it's not tolerated. And I believe that it does not arise out of nothing. It arises out of processes, out of experiences. So we cannot start saying, but this one. But if there's an issue which we know, if I know about somebody who has committed any wrong acts, I must speak out. But also I must make sure that action is taken against him. So that when or any other person does that, we don't start making comparisons. Because the problem is that we're saying, well, it's okay, it's okay.
Yes.
And it's very, very wrong for us to behave in that manner.
Let's go to Mabopane. Is it Thomas? Oh, Nelson. Okay, Nelson is... Nelson, are you there? Oh, okay, Nelson is not there. But the number to dial is 089-110-4210. We're taking your calls. We're talking to the Minister in charge of Women Affairs here in the Republic of South Africa. She's in the Presidency there. Minister, one other thing which I thought I would have wanted to focus on is the legislation. Legislation which is still very much discriminatory against women. I know that women get, maternity leave, you get paid for 3 months, then from 3 months, I don't know whether you paid half or, you know. I mean, what happens in situations where somebody gives birth to a premature child? You know, you need more time, but you would have to, because I see women here, colleagues, who go on maternity leave, and these are freelancers. They actually don't even go on maternity leave. They just go home to deliver, and the next 2 weeks the person is back, and you're like, and then like, hey, if I don't work, I'm not gonna get paid.
Well, I must say, Paul, I agree with you fully. It's some of the issues we've got to review in terms of Labour Relations Act, in saying how best do we make sure that women, we don't, in fact, let me start saying, we don't just leave it to individual companies, because there's a varying situation. In other companies, give maternity leaves which are appropriate, others they don't, and others retain or maintain the minimum standards. So it's one area which I believe that maybe it's high time we need to speak to that. Make sure that we come up with an overarching maternity benefit. And I think it's the right time now. We come from a past, but I must also say, when you talk about maternity leave, what we are seeing, for me, as a former trade unionist, I've seen a reversal. Because when we were there organizing and fighting for maternity rights, we got better rights in the negotiations for maternity benefits. And those rights are eroded. So we've got to revisit that. And I think you're right to say women must make sure that they get decent maternity leave, because now we're seeing a call for also men who want their paternity leave. So we really have to make sure that we balance that.
Okay, just hold it there. Wise?
How are you, man?
The right put you akondo naku?
Akondo nakum, ndiyabulisa nakuwe Minister Susan.
Enkosi tata.
Enkosi, Minister, ndifuna nje ucebisa mani mina. Kulento lihlutshwa kakhulu ngamadoda aripayo. So Minister, you know, government wethu ingathi akafuna uba harsh ku criminals, because death sentence was abolished, yes, because I think mina kwi-view yami ngendlela i-apartheid government eyayisebenzisa ngayo i-death sentence. That is why Tatu Mandela, they come to a decision by my police with death sentence.
Yes.
Now, in the Mrs. Shabangu, in way one, fa ababatishara be-rape, abantwana abancinci okanye criminals is-rape, aninawuza nomthetho whereby umuntu orapileyo asuswe letule beyisebenzisa ngexesha be-rape. And then iyawuba guaranteed leyo into ngoba i-rapist nazo ziphinde sibe nazo, because you guys don't know that these criminals, they enjoy sitting in prison. You think you punish them or you're trying to change them by sending them to prison, but you actually, you know, I stay in a township whereby a criminal will tell you straight, no, it's better to be in prison than to stay outside. So you need to be harsh, Minister. You really need to be harsh on these things, because the Tata Mandelas, the reason they abolished this death sentence, because of the apartheid, they didn't know how to use that thing. We need to also bring back that death sentence. Thank you, Mpo.
Why is there, Mother? Well, a debate which has been raging.
Yeah, I think it's a debate which is raging about bringing back the death penalty, not only within the space of violence against women, just broadly in society, because our society feels that there's no justice, or they don't feel that there's enough correctional measures in ensuring that they create a deterrent. But also coming to the point which is raising on the debate around sexual abuse and rape and all that, I think there's a debate which is going on now about at least a minimum of 15 years as a minimum sentence, with an intention of the highest sentence which can happen. We need to engage in that and make sure that I know that the Law Commission is working on that particular issue to look at a minimum, not maximum, minimum sentence for women abuse, especially rape.
Let's go to Cape Town. Is it Zach?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, go ahead, Zach.
Hi, Limpopo. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
I watch it every. I've been trying to get through to you. It's a bit difficult, but I've been trying a couple of days now, but finally I got through.
Sure.
Limpopo, I just want to know, man, from the minister,
Yes.
does she belong perhaps also to the Women's League, the ANC Women's League?
Yes, she does.
Yeah, so that's what I've been thinking the whole time watching the program now, because I find it very strange that the ANC Women's League only stands up for certain people of society and for certain ministers or maybe like stars or celebrities, but they never stand up for people that are lower or on a low-class level. It's always those people that are standing up or demonstrating for, at courts, as people that are in a high-class bracket. Why is that so? If you take example what happened to this girl from Grace Mugabe, the ANC Women's League didn't even go to the court, didn't even stand up.
Yeah.
Which I find disgusting.
Well, I mean, the First Lady didn't appear at any court, though. But
yeah, no, I mean, she didn't appear in courts, but they also didn't go to the courts when lawyers went to insist her to stand there with her to demonstrate like how they were doing for Oscar Pretorius and all these other celebrities.
Oh.
But because, you know, it's like, it's who's who in the world today.
Zach,
so, yeah.
I think, yeah, it's a clearer point. Well, Zach is complaining that you only seen in high-profile cases.
Well, I want to disagree with Zach. It's not only high-profile cases. Women's League is seen various activities. The media might have, or it might be have picked up the high-profile one, like Oscar Pistorius, because of the interest of the society as a whole. Therefore, they come into that space. We've seen Women's League in various areas. Or that priest in the Eastern Cape, they are there full-time. Not only that, in Northwest, there were cases. So they're always there as part of a social movement in supporting women, but also in making sure that it's a form of protest which says enough, it's enough. That is why they use that particular avenue, not only for high-profile cases, every case.
But, Minister, there are no less than 3 statutory bodies that are meant to protect or safeguard the interests of women. It's yourself as a ministry. You've got the Gender Commission, you've got, the human rights, so many bodies. Yet the scourge is not ceasing.
Well, the scourge is because it's not new. It also manifests itself within the violence which we face broadly in society. So if you look at the violence in society, the angry people, the intolerant, it's so huge. So then the scourge finds itself within that particular environment. We cannot say that it's a standalone. It's influenced by social ills, economic challenges. The scourge itself, patriarchy influences that, where men believe that because they are men, they must control women. And when women rises, they don't accept that. The issue of economic empowerment becomes very critical as making sure that it brings back the dignity of women, because it's one aspect where women, because they've got nothing, they end up being dependent and becoming victims of abuse.
Let's check our Twitter handle there. Let me check. Is it Gino Happy GP? ComSafety denounced the diplomatic immunity. Okay, that's Zuo Conchana. Those teachers pregnanting students need to be prosecuted and be expelled from education for good. And Nibana Susan says Shaba belongs to a clique in the ANC Women's League who support male perpetrators of abuse. They supported Zuma when accused of rape. Okay, DJ Skelem. I always hear MPs and political parties talking about women, but no progress. They just want to score points for election. Okay, and then Matip, we supposed to abandon our culture in our order, or rather in order to please the course of this world, the need, the red dance Swazi culture. Okay, that's fine. Well, we have come to the end of another Women's Month. Any highlights for you?
Well, the highlight of that Women's Month has been celebrated or recognized almost in all sectors of South Africa. That's very, very important, because that particular aspect, that the mere fact of that, including the private sector, civil society, governments come together and recognize this month. It's an achievement on its own, because it's where we are reflecting whether we're making progress or not as a country. So it's very, very significant. For me, we're moving in advance, but the challenge is that we've seen once more during this month where there has been a scourge against women in our society. And it's some of the issues which we have to continue addressing, not only during Women's Month, but throughout the year, in making sure that women are safe.
Okay, no. Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you indeed for your time. But that was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. From me and the entire crew, Ibe Khodzo.